Our first performer is Miss Joanne Borden, and by way of being a kind of elder statesman for our community, she comes and she performs monologues that are always of great interest and always very special. Joanne, can I see you? Here you come. What would you set up?
Thank you, Robert Irvin, for that generous introduction. As you can see, and a gallant assistant.
Is the mic okay?
Yes, everything's wonderful. Just point it over here. The cure. People thought I needed a cure because Deuteronomy in the Hebrew Bible tells us that, quote, women shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, end quote. You can look it up. It's written in Deuteronomy 22.5. If you're gay, the Bible says you also need to be cured. It says so in Leviticus 18, verse 22. In biblical times, gay and transgender people were thought to be one and the same, but it really made no difference. Everyone knew how to cure them and had the same cure for both. They didn't need social workers or psychologists. The cure was simple and foolproof. They were stoned to death. As far as we knew, they weren't transgender or gay anymore because they were cured. Coinciding with that period, or immediately thereafter, is when I believe someone invented the closet. It seems some very enterprising person invented the closet because he saw a real need and a ready-made market. The closet was handy for people to go into and escape being stoned to death. Pretty clever, eh? That's like a separate page. The closet was quite durable. That same closet is still being used this very day. No one knows who's in it, but when I left, it was pretty crowded. Most people in the closet thought religion was the cause of that evil. I feel that was because they didn't care for the cure. However, there was a worse side to religion. Religion was used as an excuse for widespread violence. Think of the Crusades and wars like the French Wars of Religion, the 30 Years' War, and so many others. I feel a lot of blood was spilled in the name of religion because people were different. Actually, that sounds a lot like the reason they cured gay and transgender people. They were different. There's a saying I read somewhere: nature loves variety and people hate it. I feel there's a lot of truth in that. But it wasn't religion that spilled the blood. It was men using religion as an excuse to kill other men. I never could understand it, but many people feel difference is bad. And difference of any kind needs to be eradicated. We all know many bad things were done in the name of religion, but religion is supposed to have you follow God. God did not write the Bible. Someone wrote it ages and ages ago. That someone said God told him all that stuff. Even if he wasn't hallucinating or employing self-aggrandizement, who knows what all those translators that came later did to the original words? The only thing God wrote himself was the 10 Commandments. It's true, really. Yes, the guy was there. Carlton Heston saw the whole thing. God didn't tell his commandments to anyone. He was smart enough to etch his word in stone. He made sure his words were not changed by anyone, especially those translators. How smart was that? Now, when you talk about the 10 Commandments, that was all good stuff. It was and is a perfect moral code for everyone to follow. So most people do. In the middle of the 16th century, there was a new cure. Casting stones was too much work. An easier cure was needed. Stoning was good sport, but so tiring. With sore arms, they finally employed what today we call work simplification principles. You know the motto, work smarter, not harder. They cleverly came up with the easier way that they sought. They even had a catchy name to describe the new cure, Burn and Cure. That catchy name caught on immediately and quickly spread throughout Europe. Again, the cure was foolproof. It was so easy, all you need to do was gather a few sticks, pull out your flintstone, and there you go. Poof! A cure! A cure without all the work of throwing stones. A real lifesaver, if you ask me. I remember something people always said, and it fits this situation perfectly. Necessity is the mother of invention. Good for them. They did not have a name for transgender or homosexual people, but everyone knew they needed to be cured, and thus they were cured permanently. In some cases, death alone wasn't enough. They had to be punished with torture before they were burned alive. That was always good fun if you could get to be the torturer. It's interesting to note that women were not subject to those cures. At least there's no evidence they ever needed a cure. They were always under the strict control of their fathers until they were given away to their husband. Women were mostly confined to harems anyhow. No one knew what went on in those harems, but everyone always wondered what all that giggling was about. Then came modern times, when people were civilized and more enlightened. Stoning and burning seemed so old-fashioned, and it was. However, those people still had to be cured. Time did not change that. It seems people are right when they say the Bible will live forever. Some were cured with a lobotomy, the removal of the part of the brain that was thought to be guilty of all the trouble. That only disabled people mentally, and they ended up in institutions. Well, that obviously had poor results, but they still had to find a cure. After all, everyone knew the old cures were not satisfactory. Stoning was too much work, and burning polluted the atmosphere. So, the aversion therapy cure was invented to be the modern, the scientific name for torture. As recently as the mid-1950s, aversion therapy was used. Some psychiatrists, like Hannah Zucker in Toronto, still think aversion therapy torture should be employed. Actually, aversion therapy seemed to work. It didn't cure anything, but the person capitulated to end the torture. No one ever said transgender and gay people were stupid. I think they simply joined the others already in the closet. If they weren't cured by so-called modern psychiatry, many were only fit to spend the rest of their lives drugged or in an insane asylum like those that had a lobotomy. Medical scientists such as Carl Maria Kirkbenny, as far back as 1869, said, these conditions have a biological cause with a congenital origin. That means we were born that way. Throughout history and to this day, scientists believe the same thing. We were born that way. Now, most people have also learned that we were born that way, and there simply is no cure, because there is no sickness.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joanne is an active member and an active speaker at many TDOR events, which is the Transgender Day of Remembrance events, which have become very important, have been popping up all over the country. Thank you so much, Joanne Borden. Give her a good hand.
My granddaughter is here tonight, and she never had a grandmother, so I'm doing my best to fill that in.